Almost 84% of Americans think they're eating healthy, but a study shows that only 1 in 8 Americans have optimal metabolic health. This means you might be eating clean, avoiding smoking, drinking, visiting your doctor annually, and still be medically unfit. I know this because I've spent the last decade fixing health problems that normal doctors completely miss. So in this video, I'm gonna explain all fundamental medical tests that reveal what's really going on in your body. I'm gonna talk about the ones that catch heart disease 10 years earlier, the ones that expose hidden inflammation, and the ones that tell you how long you'll actually live. Knowing these tests is important because you're making smart choices every day. You choose grilled chicken over fried, go to the gym, or at least stay active most days of the week. Your annual doctor visit comes back normal, so you assume everything is under control. But feeling fine doesn't mean you're actually healthy. You could have a low VO2 max right now and not feel it because it doesn't cause sharp pain. Why do you feel tired at 3 p.m.? Climbing the stairs wins you, and it's the reason why you can't keep up with your kids or recover from workouts like you used to. You could have muscle imbalances that seem normal until one day they become injuries, chronic pain, where you just stop getting stronger no matter how hard you train. But the problem isn't that these issues are invisible. The problem is nobody's looking for them, and the only way to actually look into it is through medical tests. So today, I'm gonna show you exactly which tests reveal these hidden problems, and more importantly, what your results actually mean for your health. I'm going to break these tests down into 3 categories. First category is what I call the foundation tests. These are the 3 blood markers that should be on everyone's annual lab work. Doesn't matter if you're 25 or 65, healthy or sick, athlete, or someone who never exercises. These tests catch the majority of metabolic dysfunction, heart disease risk, and inflammation before they become serious problems. They're so cheap that most insurance covers them, and if you only get 3 tests this year, make it these 3. Let's start with the first test that tells you something your regular blood sugar test completely misses. You see, when you take a blood sugar test, your doctor draws your blood, and if that one number looks good, they tell you you're fine. But it doesn't show if your blood sugar is spiking and crashing all day long, if sugar is literally sticking to your cells and aging you from the inside out. This is why you need to know about HbA1c, the test that shows you all of it. It gives you a 3-month average of what your blood sugar is actually doing. HbA1c stands for hemoglobin A1c, or glycosylated hemoglobin, and it measures how much sticky sugar is coating your cells. The number you need to know shows you everything. Below 5.7 is normal. Between 5.7 and 6.4% means you're pre-diabetic. Above 6.5 means you're diabetic. But optimal is between 5 and 5.3%. If you're above 5.5, even though it's technically normal, your body's spending too much time soaked in sugar. This speeds up aging faster than almost anything else. So you need to regularly keep a check on your hemoglobin A1c and aim for 5 to 5.3 range. With that said, let's move on to test number 2 in this category. It's something most doctors completely ignore. It's one of the most powerful predictors of heart disease, stroke, Alzheimer's, and even cancer. This test measures something happening silently in your body right now. You can't see it, you can't feel it, but it's damaging your blood vessels, your brain, your organs every single day. Yes, I'm talking about inflammation. And this marker catches it before it becomes a heart attack, before it becomes a stroke, or it becomes anything serious. This test is hsCRP, high-sensitivity C-reactive protein. CRP is a protein that your liver makes whenever there's inflammation anywhere in your body. A high-sensitivity version can detect tiny amounts of inflammation that regular tests miss. Less than 1 is low risk, between 1 and 3 is moderate risk, above 3 is high risk, but optimal is below 0.5. Most doctors see 2.5 and think it's fine, but at that level, your risk of having a heart attack is already way higher than it should be. In fact, this test predicts heart disease better than cholesterol, yet almost nobody gets it checked. Moving on to test number 3, this is something that cardiologists use every single day, but your regular doctor probably has never ordered it for you. When most doctors check your heart health, they test LDL cholesterol, but cholesterol doesn't tell you the whole story. You can have normal cholesterol and still be a massive risk for a heart attack. What actually matters is how many particles you have floating in your blood that can clog your arteries. This test counts them. It's ApoB, also called apolipoprotein B. It's a protein found on the surface of every single particle that clogs your arteries. So when you measure ApoB, you're counting exactly how many artery clogging particles you have. Normal is below 100, but optimal for living longer is below 80. If you really want to protect your heart, get it below 60. All right, those are our 3 foundational tests. They catch the big stuff like blood sugar problems, inflammation, heart disease risk. There's a second category of tests that most doctors either never talk about, or worse, they test them completely wrong and give you useless information. These are the misunderstood tests. The ones that seem simple, but are actually being done incorrectly in almost every doctor's office across the country. And if you're getting the wrong versions of these tests, you might as well throw your money in the trash. Let me show you what I mean by explaining the two most important ones. The first one is a mineral that's involved in over 300 different reactions in your body. It controls your energy production, your sleep quality, your muscle function, your heartbeat, and even how well your brain functions. When you don't have enough of it, you get muscle cramps, heart palpitations, trouble sleeping, brain fog, and your body can't manage blood sugar properly. Almost everyone is deficient in this mineral, but when your doctor checks it, they're testing the wrong thing. Checking the version that only represents about 1% of what's actually inside your body. The other 99% is hiding inside your cells where they're not looking. So your tests come back normal and you think you're fine. But meanwhile, you're rocking around exhausted. I'm talking about RBC magnesium. That's red blood cell magnesium. Unlike regular serum magnesium, which only looks at the liquid part of your blood, RBC magnesium measures what's actually inside your cells. When your blood levels start dropping, your body pulls magnesiums out of your cells to keep your blood looking normal. By the time serum magnesium shows a problem, you've been deficient for months, maybe years. RBC magnesium shows you what's been happening over the last 3 to 4 months. The normal range is usually between 4 and 6.4 milligrams per deciliter, but optimal is between 6 and 6.5. Below 5, you're deficient and you need to fix that now. If magnesium is the mineral nobody checks correctly, the next test is the amino acid nobody checks at all. But it might be one of the most important markers for predicting your risk for heart attack, stroke, and even Alzheimer's disease. Cardiologists and brain health specialists know it's critical. This marker shows up when your body can't properly break down protein, and when it builds up, it literally damages your arteries in your brain. This is homocysteine, one of the most overlooked markers in all of medicine. Absolutely critical for your heart, your brain, and longevity. It's an amino acid your body makes naturally when you eat protein. Under normal conditions, your body breaks it down using B vitamins, specifically B12, folate, and B6, and turns it into other useful compounds. But when you're low in those vitamins, this amino acid starts building up in your blood, builds up, it becomes toxic. It damages the lining of your blood vessels, promotes inflammation, increases something called oxidative stress, which is basically rust forming inside your arteries. High levels of this amino acid double your risk for Alzheimer's compared to people with optimal levels. And for every 5-point increase in this marker, your risk for heart disease jumps by 70%. This is why you need to look at your homocysteine numbers. Normal is technically between 5 and 15 micromoles per liter, but that range is way too wide. Optimal is below 7. Ideal for longevity is between 5 and 7. Once you get above 10, you're starting to see increased risks. Between 15 and 30 is elevated and dangerous. Above 30 is very high and needs immediate attention. The good news is this is one of the easiest things to fix. If your homocysteine is high, it almost always means you're low in B vitamins. You start taking the methylated forms of B12, folate, and B6. These are the active versions your body can actually use, and within weeks, your levels drop back down to normal. But you'll never know if you need to fix it if you never tested in the first place. With that said, now you know the foundational tests that catch the big problems earlier and the misunderstood tests that doctors either skip or mess up completely. But there's one more category, and this is where things get really powerful. These aren't blood tests, these are performance tests. They don't just tell you what's in your bloodstream, they tell you how well your body actually functions under stress. These tests measure your cardiovascular fitness, your nervous system balance, and exactly where fat is hiding in your body. You want to know how long you're going to live, how much energy you'll have in 10 years, or if you're at risk for diseases even though you look healthy. These are the tests that matter. Let's get straight into the top 3. First performance test is the single best predictor of how long you're going to live. No, it's not your cholesterol, not your blood pressure, not your family history. This is VO2 max. It stands for maximal oxygen consumption, and it's measured in milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of body weight per minute. I know, it's a mouthful. If you have a low VO2 max, you'll feel tired and get out of breath during normal activities like stairs. That's why you need 2 days to recover from a workout. Your body is struggling to deliver oxygen, and that struggle predicts heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, and early death better than almost any other test. Scientists have studied over 100,000 people and found that if you're in the bottom 25% of this test, you have a 5 times higher risk of dying in the next 10 years compared to people in the top 20%. For comparison, smoking only increases your risk by about 40%. Having diabetes increases it by about 40%. Even having diagnosed heart disease only increases your risk by about 30%. This test beats all of them. What it measures is how much oxygen your body can actually use when you're pushing yourself to the max. It tells you how efficiently your heart pumps blood, how well your lungs grab oxygen from air, how effective your blood vessels deliver that oxygen to your muscles, and how efficiently your muscles use it to create energy. It's a measure of your entire cardiovascular system working together. So, For every small improvement you make in this number, you drop your risk of dying from anything by 10 to 15%. And if you have a low VO2 max, you can improve it at any age. The test itself is done at a sports performance lab or a specialized clinic. You'll run on a treadmill or a bike while wearing a mask that measures how much oxygen you're breathing and how much you're breathing out. Intensity gradually increases until you hit complete exhaustion. The whole test takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and once you know your number, you can train specifically to improve it. Now, VO2 max tells you how much your cardiovascular system performs under maximal stress. But there's another test that how well your nervous system handles stress and recovers from it. Most people think stress is just mental, but your body has a physical response to stress that you can measure. This test shows whether your nervous system is balanced or if you're stuck in fight or flight mode, even when you should be relaxed. And if you're stuck, it explains why you can't sleep, why you're always tired even after resting, and why you get sick more often than you should. It's called heart rate variability, or HRV. Higher variability is better. It means your body is flexible and can adapt to stress. Lower variability means your nervous system is rigid and you're not recovering properly. Let's try to understand it better. Your heart doesn't beat like a metronome. It actually changes slightly from beat to beat. One heartbeat might come at 0.9 seconds after the last one. The next one might come at 1.1 second later. That tiny variation is controlled by your nervous system. It reveals whether your body is in balance or not. Autonomic nervous system has two sides. The sympathetic side, which is your fight or flight response, and your parasympathetic side, which is your rest and digest response. When you're healthy and balanced, these two sides work together smoothly. But when you're chronically stressed, overtrained, or dealing with inflammation, that balance gets thrown off, your body gets stuck in fight or flight mode, and the variation between your heartbeats drop way down. This is why people with high HRV are usually less stressed, sleep better, recover faster from workouts, and have stronger immune systems. People with low HRV tend to be chronically tired, get sick more often, struggle with sleep, and feel wired but exhausted at the same time. You can track it at home with a chest strap monitor or certain wearable devices. It's like having a daily readout of how well your nervous system is functioning. So VO2 max shows how your cardiovascular system performs, HRV shows how your nervous system recovers, but there is something else that most people completely overlook. The spinal test shows you exactly what that is and whether it's dangerous or not. You see, most people step on the scale and they think the number tells them everything they need to know. But weight is just weight. It doesn't tell you how much of that weight is muscle, how much is fat, where that fat is located. You could be 180 pounds with 12% body fat and be incredibly healthy, or you could be 180 pounds with 30% body fat and be at massive risk for disease. The scale can't tell the difference. A mirror will never show you this. You need a scan that can look inside your body and show you exactly where everything is. The best test for this is a DEXA scan. It's the gold standard for measuring body composition. It shows you your total body fat percentage, your lean muscle mass, your bone density, and most importantly, it shows your visceral fat and exactly where you're storing fat on your body. The scan takes about 10 minutes. You lie on a flat table and the scanner passes over you. No needles, no pain, nothing invasive. The cost is usually between $100 and $200. You should get one every 3 to 6 months if you're serious about tracking your progress. There are cheaper options like biometric and impedance scales that you can use at home. It sends a small electric current through your body. Because fat and muscle conduct electricity different, the scale can estimate your body composition. These are very good for tracking trends over time, but they're not as accurate as a DEXA scan. Hydration, food intake, and timing can all throw off the numbers a little bit. So, if you want to know whether your body composition is helping or hurting you, you can't just look at the mirror or step on a scale. You need actual data. All right, so now you know different categories of tests that actually tell you how your body functions. But there's still a problem. Most people get excited about all this testing, ask their doctor for these tests, and get told, you don't need that because insurance only covers disease, not optimization. Then they try to book the test privately and realize HbA1c at one lab, VO2 max at a sport facility across town, DEXA at a different clinic, and nobody's coordinating any of it. They end up with a stack of results and no idea what any of the numbers actually mean or what to do about them. At Vibe Wellness, we built our functional testing program to solve this exact problem. Instead of sending you to 5 different locations and hoping you can piece together what's happening in your body, everything is in one place as one complete assessment of your entire system. We offer several different testing packages depending on what you're dealing with. If you're tired all the time, we look at metabolic markers, your hormone levels, your inflammation, your nutrient status. If you're trying to lose weight but nothing's working, we check your body composition, your metabolic health, your thyroid function. If you're an athlete trying to perform better, we test your VO2 max, your HRV, your recovery markers, your muscle balance. Everything is tailored to you. So, if you're tired of being told everything's fine when you know something's wrong, if you're frustrated with your doctor who spends 5 minutes with you and hands you a prescription, if you actually want to understand what's happening inside your body, this is what we do every single day at Vive Wellness. You can find us in Charlotte, North Carolina, or you can visit our website to learn more about our testing programs and how we work. But don't wait until something breaks to start paying attention to these numbers. The whole point of testing is to catch problems early when they can still be easily fixed.